Hello, Jody.
Hello.
Hey, Brian Wheat.
Hey, it's Brian.
Hey, man, it's Ron Keel.
Hey, Ron. How you doing, buddy?
I am doing great, man. I was expecting Jody to hook us up and do the phone call thing, but it's great to hear directly from you, man. Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, no problem.
I want to let you know we are recording from the get-go, Brian, so the unedited, unfiltered conversation goes on the podcast, and for the radio show, we do a 12-minute edited version of that interview, bookended by music, so everything you say, people are going to hear, and after I say thanks and goodbye, please don't hang up. I've got one bonus question for that podcast version, please.
Okay, no problem.
Very cool, man. All right, let's do... Oh, before we start, can I get that liner from you? I don't know if you got the copy from Jody. This is Brian Wheat from Tesla, and I'm on the streets of rock and roll with Ron Keel.
Hey, this is Brian Wheat from Tesla, and I'm on the streets of rock and roll with Ron Keel.
That is, of course, Tesla, covering the Beatles on their latest release, 5-Man London Jam, live from Abbey Road. We can work it out, and Tesla's Brian Wheat proves that and lots more in his extremely interesting and compelling autobiography, Son of a Milkman, My Crazy Life with Tesla. Brian's been super busy in the media lately promoting the book's release, and I'm really lucky to have a shot at him on this program. Hello, Brian. Welcome. How are you?
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. And, you know, when the 5-Man London Jam came out a few months back, Jody Best offered me, he said, you can have Jeff Keith or Brian Wheat to interview to promote that release. I said, man, give me Brian. I've known him for 35 years, but I've never got a chance to interview him. I'm glad we waited until now because I've read the book, and not only have I read it, I've read it twice. And thank you for that. I completely enjoyed it. Dude, really. No, I mean, I read it once, and then we got delayed a couple of days, and I thought, man, I should go back and read it again. And actually, while I was reading it, I would rewind each chapter and go back to the top. I couldn't put it down. What a fantastic story, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I just thought maybe you thought this shit couldn't be true, so you
no, man.
Ready to guess. Did I just read that?
No, it's just really interesting. We all love, whether you're a fan or somebody in the industry or one of your peers, we all love these celebrity/rock and roll biographies, autobiographies. And on the outside, it's a fantastic story of a kid who went through a lot of adversity to become very successful in an extremely tough business. But you frame that story by writing about your personal struggles with depression, anxiety, weight gain, some other medical challenges. Right now, as this book is published and people all over the world are getting this glimpse inside who you are, how does that feel to a guy who's dealt with stress and anxiety issues to have your whole life laid out there in black and white?
Well, it's kind of liberating because there's a sense of you put it out there in black and white and you let go of it, where if you don't and you keep it all inside, it just fuels more anxiety and depression. So part of the healing is letting it go.
You and I have known each other for a long, long time, 35 years, and I felt like you're always the guy who's like the dad backstage. I go backstage and hang with Tesla, and you're watching over my shoulder to make sure I don't put my hand on Frank's or Jeff's ass or something. It's like you're the guy in charge and the dad. I'd really like to offer a quote from the book. You know, I did not note which page this one's on, but this one really hit home, Brian. Quote, I think the world today fuels the depression crisis that's going on, not just in our country, but all of the world. Just too many pressures, many of them brought on by social media. That one really struck me upside the head, man. Can you expand on that?
Well, I think that, you know, with today's day and age, people can say whatever they want about you or your band or anything on these platforms, mainly Facebook.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's just no filter and no truth to it. A lot of it's fake news, you know. You know, when we started out, me and you, when we was kids, we had magazines and MTV. And there was some responsibility in what was being said about us or, you know, individuals and bands and stuff. At least it went through the interview or something. But now some pissed off kid in Indiana can sit in his bedroom and say all kinds of crazy things about you or the way you look or whatever. And it's just out there. And then people start believing it as the truth. And that's a lot of pressure.
Getting to know you through this book, and I want everyone to know, this is not a book about depression. It's a very entertaining, fun, informative read. It's the story of Tesla and Brian Wheat's life. Feels like you're just sitting across from me on the couch telling some stories. So the depression thing, it did hit home for me personally, because I've never spoken about this with anyone but my wife, because I always put on this disguise. I pretend to be 10 feet tall and bulletproof, and like a lot of people, I struggle with it, and the effects are just crippling. She doesn't understand it because she's so positive. She's like, why can't you just snap out of it? And I often hide it from her because I want to be the strong one, and I got to thank you, because reading your book really helped.
Well, that's kind of the thing. I thought, well, it is like we don't like to talk about it, or we don't, or it's a taboo subject, or there's a stigma behind it, you know what I mean? And I thought, well, look, I deal with this shit on a daily basis. Maybe if I put it out there, it might, encourage someone else to talk about it, or it might help them. So I'm glad that, you're able to talk about it now.
Yeah.
And you weren't being able to, because that's part of for me, that's part of the healing process. I think you got to talk about it because it's important. If you don't talk about it, you just trip. And tripping ain't good.
Yeah.
Especially for anxiety and depression.
I have a hard time, like I said, and even my wife doesn't understand, when you get hit with that, it is debilitating, and you just want to stay in your bunk, in your coffin, in the tour bus, as you mentioned in the book. And you start the book out with that great story about you and Chris Cornell, and you end it with the phone numbers for the suicide hotlines, and that's the last thing in the book that you wrote. But very, very appreciative of that. I know a lot of our fans and friends suffer from the same thing, and they're going to get help in some way from this book. Now, I'm speaking with Brian Wheat, discussing his new autobiography, Son of a Milkman, My Crazy Life with Tesla, for guys from our generation. And there are a lot of parallels in our stories. One of those common threads is our love for the Beatles and how they impacted our lives. I'm just a little bit older than you, Brian, and I remember seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan in 1964. I was only 2 years old, but from that day on, everything was about music. Tell me about what it felt like to go back and celebrate the 30th anniversary of the 5-man acoustical jam with the performance at Abbey Road Studios live in London.
Well, for me, it was a big highlight because I'm sitting in that studio playing my Hofner bass, which I played because of Paul McCartney. And I'm playing We Can Work It Out and singing We Can Work It Out with Jeff in the same studio that record was made in 1965. So it was pretty cool. It really was. It was one of the highlight things. You go, okay, bucket list thing, that there it is. So it was really, really cool. I'm of the opinion on the 8th day that God created Paul McCartney.
I hear you, man. And I love the stories about how you tracked him down and got the photo in the book. And your friendship with Jimmy Page was also just was very entertaining for me to hear. And the opportunity you got to get up on stage and jam Rock and Roll, the Zeppelin classic, with Jimmy Page. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, there was a thing that Paul Allen from Microsoft was doing in Seattle at that museum. And I was invited to go perform as a tribute to Jimmy Page. And I played with Paul Rogers, and we did the Firm stuff. And at the end of the night, Jimmy got up and played, but he wasn't supposed to. He didn't say he was going to or anything. So it was a really kind of off the cuff thing. And, next thing I know, there's my pal Jimmy Page, and he's like, let's just do one song. I said, okay. He goes, rock and roll. I said, okay. And, he plugs in his guitar, and he's standing next to me while he's playing. because there's a lot of people on stage. And he turns around and he looks at the drummer, and I just thought to myself, "Oh fuck, it's Jimmy Page." Right? Because other than that, it's my friend Jimmy Page, but it's Jimmy. It's just Jimmy to me and my wife. It's Jimmy. We're going out with Jimmy. And you forget that he's Jimmy Page.
Yeah, he does know how to play guitar, right?
Amazing. He knows how to play guitar.
Man, the way you tell the story,
all the time I've been around him, he's never played guitar.
Wow!
So that was the first time.
The way you tell the story in the book, it felt like I was on stage with you. It's just a great retelling of that special moment for you. That's just one of hundreds of great stories in this book. Son of a Milkman, My Crazy Life with Tesla. The mothership is teslatheband.com. So go there, click on that link, autographed copies of the book on sale now. You are brutally honest about the relationships between the bandmates in Tesla. It's clear there's a lot of love. And I've had everybody on the show except you, and this is your first time on my radio show, but I've talked to all the other guys, and it's clear there's a lot of love, but there's also been a lot of conflict and even physical violence. I mean, you guys come into blows, with each other behind the stage. You attribute the problems primarily to substance abuse. I get that. And the solution was hiring a band therapist, which I think is brilliant. What advice would you give to a young, hungry band that's going through some of that same shit that maybe can't afford a group therapist like Tesla did?
Knock it off or you ain't going to make it. That's my advice. Tesla's a brotherhood. And sometimes brothers fight. Sometimes brothers say fucked up shit to each other. And, we've done it all. We've been through it all together. But the main thing is that we're still okay and we're still together today. And we're stronger than we've ever been in terms of that. I talk about some of the things, but you got to remember too, those things, I'm telling things that happened at that time, which was many years ago. The band, since Dave Rude got into it, has been pretty solid. Even me and Troy, we had some disagreements along the way and a lot of verbal altercations. But today, me and him are fine because we've learned how to appreciate each other and respect each other, and we have a really good level of understanding each other today. And we don't have the problems we had. It's just, like I said, it's just brothers. Brothers go at it. And when there's 4 or 5 of them, it's bound to happen.
I have obviously a lot of experience working with you guys. I've opened for Tesla in 3 different bands. I'm not sure how many guys can say that, but I opened for Tesla with Keel, the Ron Keel Band, and Sin City All-Stars at a show out in Utah. Gosh, 2005 maybe, 2006.
Yeah, but we opened for you when we were City Kid.
I know that, at the Country Club in Reseda. I think that was one of those nights when you turned some heads, dropped some jaws, and really made an impact on the business. And people in the industry were taking you seriously. And that gig has always kind of bonded Tesla and Keel and Ron Keel together. And I certainly appreciate being part of that history.
Yeah, no, that's, we do have quite a long history. And, I remember that night. We were with that young band trying to get signed, and you and Mark and I remember that.
Wow,
that was cool.
Yeah, we have flyers from that gig. We still post on Facebook, and this is Tesla when they were City Kid, and some of those stories from the early years that people are not going to know unless you write a book about it. I did the same thing. I spent probably a third of my book is about my upbringing and the early years and stuff that people maybe certainly didn't know and maybe didn't even care about. But that's my favorite part of my book and yours as well. The struggles and the formative years, those developmental years where you fell in love with music and all that you were going through with your family situation and all that. It's absolutely a fascinating read. And like I said, I read it twice. I recommend that anybody who's interested in music, entertainment, life, business, or some of the other issues that you address in the book, you got to pick up this book by Brian Wheat at teslatheband.com. Are there any other links that I should send people to? I'm sure it's available on Amazon and all the usual distributors.
Yeah, you can get the book wherever you get books.
Yeah.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, bookstores. If you're not locked up, you can get out. You can go into bookstores and they'll have it. I don't know if we're selling them on teslatheband.com.
There is a link there, yes. You go to, that's the mothership.
Okay.
You go to teslatheband.com. It's the number one headline on the news section, and just click on it, and it's really easy access.
It sends you to Amazon or something?
It sends you to Premier something. Well, I forget the publisher or whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I know. Okay. Yeah. Premier Collectibles. Right.
That's right. And so it's really easy access. Of course, if you do a search for it, you'll find that. And I highly recommend it to everybody. Like I said, I've done so many shows with Tesla through the years, and Frank Hannon and I have gotten really tight. He's played on my albums, and we're good friends.
Yeah. You and Frank are good buddies.
Yeah, Frank has been to the house. We sang together in my basement, the very room I'm speaking to you in now. Frank's been in this room singing with me. And Jeff Keith, obviously the most outgoing and energetic cat that you'll ever want to meet. And he and I have a good rapport. And now, after reading this book, I know Brian Wheat pretty good, man. I like this guy. So thanks so much again, Brian.
Thank you, man.
I've enjoyed. I've got a lot of catching up to do on my Christmas stuff because it all had to wait until I was finished with the book twice. But much admiration and respect. Thanks for the interview and continued best wishes for all the good stuff, man.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it.
Ride South by South Dakota. The new album from Ron Keel Band. A celebration of the Southern rock tradition, featuring classic songs from all the iconic Southern rock legends. The Allman Brothers, Leonard Skinner, Outlaws, Molly Hatchet, Blackfoot, Marshall Tucker Band, 38 Special. South by South Dakota. The new album from Ron Keel Band and an unbelievable show. Visit ronkeel.com, highvolmusic.com, and hvmentertainment.com. And ride south.
Here we go. Calling the Captain. Let's do this.
Hello, this is Mark.
Hello, Mark. This is Ron Keel calling for the Captain.
Hey, Ron Keel, you got the Captain.
Man, this is awesome. Thank you so much for doing it.
It's my pleasure, brother.
My pleasure, man. You probably don't know who I am, but I'm certainly a longtime fan and also an artist. I had a few million record sales back in the 80s and hosted my own radio show now for 8 years, and we've got about 10,000 listeners. We're all excited to hear what you've got to say and play.
Awesome.
Very cool. Before we forget about it, Mark, can I get that liner from you? I'm not sure if Melissa sent you that text. This is Mark Farner, and I'm on the streets of rock and roll with Ron Keel.
This is Mark Farner, and I'm on the streets of rock and roll with Ron Keel.
That is the sound of an American man with his American band. Over 30 million albums sold. #1 hits, multiple gold and platinum albums. He's your captain. Tell everybody you know, Mark Farner is on the streets of rock and roll. Mark, hello, how are you?
Hey, I'm proud to be sucking air, brother. Good to be with you, Ron.
Right on, man. Your rock and roll legacy is obviously well known. You've been a big part of the soundtrack of our culture now for over 50 years. But I'm excited to talk to you about your new release, the From Chile With Love DVD. We're all going to pre-order that right now at markfarner.com. Tell us what we're going to see and hear when we get it.
Well, this is a live performance in Santiago, Chile, and it is at Teatro Calpalican. It was a sold-out crowd, and the love of the Chilean fans shines through in every song. I mean, they sometimes, I'm telling you, Ron, they sing louder than the PA, and they are Hispanic speaking people singing my English spoken and written songs back to me at full tilt boogie, and it's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming. And not only is there 18 performances on the tape, there's also there's bonus videos, some bonus videos, and 5 bonus songs. So it's quite the package to take it home, and a lot of surprise with it.
I can't wait to see it myself. The release date on this is February 2021. Like I said, pre-order that now at markfarner.com and enjoy the new video for Rock and Roll Soul, recently released and available on the Mark Farner YouTube channel. Mark, this is a really fun video, man. You cannot watch it without smiling and stomping your feet.
Well, that's a dang good answer, Ron. That's exactly what we were kind of looking for with that. And I was proud to have those guys, shooting the video, and they get it. It's an American feel, it's a patriotic feel. And, rock and roll soul. Hey, America's where rock and roll started. The rest of the world copied us, brother.
That's right, man. Any relation with the elderly gentleman in the video and the little kid who gives I don't want to give away the ending, but there's an elderly man and a young child in the video. Is that friends, family, or?
Friends. Yes.
Awesome, man. It's a fantastic performance, both on stage and in the concept footage. You're a guy who's known for stomping your feet all around the stage, man. What's the last show you did, and how difficult has 2020 been for you?
Well, the last show I did was, I can't tell you the month. I mean, it was... because I don't keep track of time. That's not something I keep track of. My wife does that, and she reminds me when I'm supposed to be doing my interviews, when I'm supposed to be taking my vitamins. I just kind of stay in the creative state of mind. I try to, and she helps me out on that. But I miss being on stage, Ron. And listen, dude, when you're doing these Zoom videos and you're doing the video presentations, and whether it's SteamYard or StreamYard or whatever, and when you get done playing your song, it's silent, dude. and on stage, when you get done playing, there's all kinds of accolades and people stomping, and there's a thunder coming at you, and so that geeks you up to do the next song. So we kind of got a different strategy now. The geeking has to come from my memory of what it was like to be on stage in front of these people, and now I'm here in front of a video camera performing. So it's a strange ranger, to tell you the truth, brother.
I get it, man. I get it. I'm going through the same thing, and I'm speaking with our captain, Mark Farner. You just celebrated the 50th anniversary of the release of your first album. I'm not far behind you, man. I'm celebrating the 40th anniversary of the first time I ever heard myself on the radio. And I think that's a moment none of us will ever forget. I know you recall the first time you ever heard your music on the radio.
Oh, that's right, Brother Ron. Yep, WTAC in Flint, Michigan. When they spun our record, we both dropped in a heart attack. It was so spectacular. Yeah, man, and like you said, it's still there in resident memory.
Absolutely, you never forget that. What song was it, Mark?
It was the Harlem Shuffle, and it was the Fabulous Pack that recorded it.
Wow, very cool, man. We want to hear more of your music on the radio. If I play a song, can you stick around for another segment?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. I downloaded this one at markfarner.com. Have I mentioned the website yet? markfarner.com. There's some great music and merch on that website. Everybody make sure your earbuds are all the way in and your volume is up all the way, because Mark Farner is going to take you out. I'm back with my very special guest, Mark Farner. We're talking about his new live DVD release, From Chile With Love. I could say that like the redneck that I am. From Chile With Love. But it's Chile, all right, Chile. Pre-order
That's right, brother.
I used to live by the Pete Townsend mantra, Mark, hope I die before I get old. And then one day we wake up and we're survivors. And at some point, it becomes really cool to be one of the elder statesmen of rock. You seem really to embrace that role? And it's obvious that you're very comfortable with who Mark Farner is today.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And as you mentioned on the website, we have merchandise there. I just wanted to tell the listeners that all my stuff is made in the United States. I don't shop elsewhere. I want to support our country, so I present to the fans shirts, hats, whatever we got, made in the USA because I love my country and I'm trying to help us out.
Way to go. Well said and well done. And one thing I've always admired about you is your willingness to take a stand and speak your mind on issues that matter to all of us. Now, this is a topic that I wrestle with all the time because a lot of people these days just want us to shut up and entertain them. How do you walk that line, man?
Well, I will entertain them with a political song. I will entertain them with "Don't let them take your gun." I will put something out there that Zappa produced or Todd Rundgren, and I will speak to them in song.
Very cool. And one reason you're known as the rock and roll patriot, you made it very clear in your public 4th of July video message to our veterans and first responders how you feel America changed on Jekyll Island in 1913. You're the first celebrity I've ever seen to speak out about the Federal Reserve, and I gave you a standing ovation for that.
Thank you, Brother Ron. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the encouragement, my friend.
Yeah, it's absolutely, man, and I respect and appreciate that as well. We've got to promote your GoFundMe campaign. This is Mark Farner's Mid-Michigan Flood Relief. Tell us all about that.
Well, down near Midland, Michigan, of course, a dam broke, and that led to another dam breaking, and there was a succession of dams breaking, and flood, and people's houses got washed away. Everything that they owned was plucked from them, and we watched here locally in Michigan on a local news channel here, and my wife Lisa and I just said, "Man, let's do something to help them out. This is our statesman here." So the Michigan Red Cross is helping out down there. They are hands-on with a lot of the victims that have gone through this. And I just tell people if they can give a little bit, a whole lot of little bits make a bunch at the end, and you can feel good because you are helping somebody that really needs it. This is not on the news. I don't know why, but some of the things that we need to be looking at and paying attention to just kind of get swept under the rug. This shouldn't be. This is my statesmen, my people, my brothers and sisters in Michigan here that need some help, and I really appreciate any fan that donates even 50 cents. I'm serious. I love you. Thank you for helping us out.
Yeah, just visit GoFundMe.com and search the name Mark Farner. And Mark, it is very much under the radar. My daughter and her family live in Michigan, and I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, it's and you go through there, dude. You can't even believe these houses that were lakefront homes. They're sitting on a empty hole there, and it's got weeds and all kinds of crap down in there. It's just it's devastating, and I don't know how long it'll be before there'll be any water, or if there will be water back in those lakes. It's just up in the air now. So
very cool.
God bless him.
Yeah, GoFundMe.com. Search the name Mark Farner. We talked about your love of performing and touring, and I'm in the same situation. And I ask this question in every interview I do, whether it's an industry insider, another artist, the fans, everybody I talk to, I try and get their take on this. When do you think things are going to open up for us so we can get back on stage?
As soon as all of the fake news BS is put behind us, and as soon as the people get rid of the fear that has been instilled in them by listening to news and believing it. I've been telling people, Ron, for many, many years, since 1995, the deregulation of the FCC, to pretend that television that has all the ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, all them mainstream channels. Just pretend that television is your butt and pull your head out of it.
I love it.
Just pull your head out of it. Get into your heart, because you are a good person if you get steered by what your heart is made of. Listen, we are all made of love, and we had to be convinced of other things to turn us in different directions. But when we leave the bone suit, my brother, we going back to where we come from. I've already been there and back, so I can speak from the proof of the evidence of I'm here now, and I was in heaven a couple of times when I had my pacemaker put in, 6 years ago. So it's love that we're made of. We weren't born with M16s in our hands and knives in our teeth, man. You got to teach kids how to kill. You got to teach kids. You got to run movies that's all killing. You got to give them video games that's all killing and chopping and blood and running and everything, just to desensitize them enough to go do some of your dirty work.
Wow. Mark Farner saying it like it is, man. Dreams do come true. 45 years ago, I was jamming out to your music after school, and now I'm on the radio talking to you, and you're still taking me to school.
God bless you, Ron Keel.
Awesome,
you're a good man.
You too, man. Thank you so much. The website, once again, for the 12th time, of course, is markfarner.com. Great links, social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. But that website is the mothership. Great music and merchandise at markfarner.com. Pre-order the new Live in Chile DVD.
Yeah, from Chile With Love.
Man, the legendary Mark Farner. Did I miss anything? Anything else you want to mention, Captain?
No, I just like to mention to the listener to stay with your heart. You got a good heart. Always go internal. When things start clouding your mind and you start getting all confused, go to your heart. You got a really good heart, and learn that that's where you need to come from. Even in the face of adversity, love is our guiding light.
Wow. Thank you for saying that and for your time today. The legendary Mark Farner, still talking the rock and rocking the talk and walking the rock. I'm starstruck. Dude, for over...
Yeah, man, I'm walking that rock.
The legend, he's talking the rock and rocking us now for 50 years plus, man. Half a century of great times, great music, and great messages. Thank you so much for the discussion and for all the inspiration and great music through the years.
Well, I appreciate being on your show, Brother Ron. God bless you, and rock 'em alive over there, my friend.
Thank you. I will do that, and I know you will as well. Mark Farner on the streets of rock and roll, back after this. My man, that is a dream come true for me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. And where are you playing? You doing any video things?
I am... at ronkeel.com. I do have a great live stream. We did the same thing in August. We did a full production live stream show with my band. I'd love to send you a link if you want to check it out. And
yeah, man.
It's a really, really nice big production, 6 cameras, high def audio and all that. But that was the best we could do. I actually managed 24 shows this year. I did a world tour, Australia and Mexico, did Cozumel and Belize in February and March before the pandemic hit. And then I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, here in the wild, wild Midwest, where there's still a shred of freedom and liberty left. So we were able to we did the Sturgis Rally, did 5 shows out at Sturgis and the State Fair and some other gigs in Minnesota, South Dakota, Missouri. And so we're hoping for the best for next year, and we're just going to keep our hopes up and stay positive.
Yeah, man. Hey, send me that link, and the email address is...
I got that. I'm saving it, and I will send you a link to that, and also would love to send you a CD and some music and just share my music with you as you've shared yours with me for my entire life.
I appreciate it, man. I'd love to give a listen to it, give a look at it.
That means a lot, man. Oh, wait. If you've got another minute, man, if you don't mind... I wish I'd had you on a couple of weeks ago. We do an annual Veterans Day show with phone calls from our vets and the various armed forces and such. It's a great episode every year. And if you would like to give a little message for our veterans, I'll save that and put it into next year's episode if you don't mind.
Yeah. Well, to all of our veterans, God bless you, brothers and sisters. We appreciate you putting your safety and risking your safety. You put it on the line and risk it for ours. And for that, we could never repay you outside of the love that we show you and the honor that we give you. God bless all of our veterans.
Very cool. Thank you. One more thing, if you would say,
Yeah.
This is Mark Farner, in that same tone, so I can cut that into the intro.
This is Mark Farner.
Perfect. Way to go, man. I really appreciate you, and I knew this was going to be the high point of my week or month or year, but I can't thank you enough, and I'm looking forward to getting my copy of the DVD in the mail.
Awesome. Well,
Thank
God
you,
bless
man.
you, Brother Ron. Nice talking to you, buddy.
God bless you too, sir.
All right.